TYT Sports, everybody. J.R. Jackson, Jeremy Rucker, Jason Rubin, 3Js, Dr. J's. All of us on this panel must have a J. Now, we're going to be talking about another J. That'll be Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. He is a captivating figure of your childhood, of our childhood, of really any basketball fan. And one of the things that made Michael Jordan stand out, not just his game, not just his rings, but his trash talking. And it even hopped over to the set of Space Jam. Now, it is not hard to get me to talk about what, in my opinion, is the greatest sports movie to ever be created in the history of film.
Better than Air Bud?
Better, well, Air Bud's great, but
better than
look,
Like Mike?
You put one golden retriever at any point in Space Jam, and it's the great, and then it's just one of the greatest movies of all time. But we have Keith Gibbs, who was he's the guy that's in every basketball movie, really. He was in basketball, obviously Space Jam, and he was friends with Joe Pytka, who was the director of Space Jam. So he invited him.
And that is the answer to the question that everyone would probably want to know. How do I get to be in every sports movie of all time?
And only sports movies.
Yeah.
So Joe Pytka, who's the director for Space Jam, invited him down one day, and they're playing some pickup on the set, using some extras, and we're going to throw to his quote, which comes from Grantland, so let's take a look. I walk in. This is Keith Gibbs. I walk in, and it's Reggie Miller, Charles Barkley, Alonzo Mourning, Charles Oakley. Grant Hill shows up. Jerry Stackhouse shows up. Now, all of a sudden, it's an NBA All-Star pickup game. That's just, I couldn't even imagine. Every night. I did that for about a month and a half, 2 months. Then the UCLA kids came in, and they had just won a national title at O'Bannon and those guys. Just phenomenal. Best pickup games I've ever been a part of. It was unreal. Just in terms of the pickup games, before we get to the second half of this quote, if you show up to a Reggie Miller, Alonzo Mourning, Jerry Stackhouse, I have a feeling that this is what it seems like to be at that pickup game. Let's take a look at the screenshot. I feel like, I don't want to say Michael, I feel like half the little Toon Squad on the end, because that's what it must look like, literally. But let's get to the second half of this quote where it gets oh so good. So Jordan, I had to guard Reggie Miller and Michael Jordan in back-to-back games. It was so bad. I was friends with Chris Mills and Tracy Murray. We had been to some camps together. One play I got switched on to Jordan because Chris was like, Keith, you take him. Jordan hit a 35-footer on me. I mean, it was ridiculous. Leg out, tongue out, all that stuff. Hit a 35-footer on me and goes, get the fuck off the court. Jordan talking shit on the set of Space Jam. Obviously, he's been, that's the type of competitor he was. It didn't matter what game of basketball, whether it be NBA, Dream Team, Space Jam set. Hope he doesn't do it around his kids.
Of course it is.
You think his kids get the ball, they take a shot, they miss? Get off my court. Get off my court.
He probably didn't go too easy on them as he played against them. You know, they probably broke their spirits, which is why they panned out.
Swats any shots that gets in their way anyway.
It's like when you watch Shaq and his kids and he's standing in front of the net, swatting everything down. Now, in terms of trash talking, this wasn't just a good day, a good story on trash talk for Michael Jordan. Reddit, a good friend of ours. Anybody who's on the internet should love Reddit's front page and Reddit's NBA thread, and of course, Reddit's trash talking thread, which came out recently. We're going to take a look at some of those because some of the trash talk from this Reddit thread is phenomenal. A lot has to do with Derrick Rose. Let's take a look. First off, Benny the Bull has had more court time than D-Rose. That's a fact, actually. He's also got a better highlight reel than the Lakers starting five.
Also a fact,
Jeremy.
Also a fact.
Next, there's another one too, because there's one of which that mentions my least favorite rapper in the entire world, Drake. D-Rose tore his ACL trying to spring forward for daylight savings time. His knees are made out of Drake's feelings.
Written by a Lakers fan, though, so we do have something going for us. At least we're funny.
Look, there wasn't too much Knicks trash talk on this thread because I guess the Knicks are in non-existence when they're the 30th team in the league out of 29, unfortunately.
It's a rebuilding season.
It's a rebuilding. I've been saying that for years. But what do you guys think in terms of the trash talking thread? What do you think about
Michael Jordan? I think
Michael
we kind of
Jordan?
overlooked. I like the spring forward with Derrick Rose, and he tore his ACL for daylight savings.
too.
I like that one. But you know, I've always had this policy with the internet. Don't say anything because I don't feel like having to. Because you can't let things go. You have to continue to come back and continue to respond to come up with something else better. And that you can be living on Reddit for the next 5 days trying to get back the last shit talking that you.
What do you think I've been doing for the last 5 days, JR? I am all those people. Jeremy, what do you think about the Reddit trash talking thread?
Hilarious.
As always.
Reddit is a wonderful thing for all internet
Was there any
lovers.
favorites you had from
The Clipper
Reddit
one?
thread?
The Clipper one was pretty fantastic. I really enjoyed the. What's the difference between
a Clippers fan and a baby?
A Clippers fan or the Clippers and a baby. Or was a Clippers fan? Either way, a baby stops crying after a while. I love that one.
Yeah, but see, I don't like. There's a lot of trash talking against the Clippers, and for whatever reason, like I like Jamal Crawford.
The league doesn't like the Clippers.
The league
NBA
doesn't
players don't like the Clippers.
Not as much as they don't like the Rockets, but that's for an entirely
Well,
separate clip.
and the Clippers being
Foreshadowing.
Collectively, the reason they don't like the Clippers is because of Blake Griffin. Let's be honest. No one walks out and says how much they dislike Chris Paul. Some people probably do, but that's not one of those known things where
Right.
Chris Paul he's a bully. He initiates fouls and he cries all the time. Who do you hear that about?
Blake, yeah. Well, what I've heard.
Chris Paul's knees are made of Nas's feelings.
Nice.
Yes.
What I've heard is that the Clippers seem entitled to a bunch of other NBA players. People should respect them. People should make them title contenders, and they never got out of the second round. So I think that's what a lot of people cite when they say they don't like the Clippers. Obviously, you can take that as you will. It doesn't affect everybody. I don't really think it's a huge deal, but a lot of that stems from Blake, the whining part, and I think Chris Paul too, to a lesser extent though, because he's had the success previously in his career, and
Well,
he has those commercials.
all right then. In terms of
That's
trash
the real
talking,
problem. I mentioned
that's-
that before.
yeah.
They all have these commercials. That's where people have the issue. When someone says, "How come these guys get all this attention?" It's a lot less from the league or from refs or any preferential treatment. They're sick of seeing State Farm commercials and Kia commercials with these two guys in them. It's part of the problem. I mean, Magic Johnson a couple years back was upset because why isn't LeBron getting the same kind of commercials that Blake Griffin and Chris Paul are getting when he's won?
Yeah, but Magic's always
I remember he was saying
upset
that.
about
He's
something.
even frustrated. Yeah.
He's frustrated about everything.
and we all know that LeBron James only drives Kias.
Only.
Obviously. Mr.
Same with Blake.
Same with Blake.
Yeah.
They're
And
very
Shaq only drives Buicks.
Yeah.
Well-
And both cars are big enough for these huge people to sleep in.
Literally. That's why they probably like them. They're big guys. They're huge.
It's true.
All right. Well,
Are we gonna see JJ Redick on The Bachelor anytime soon?
No, never.
No? Okay.
He is a good-looking guy in terms of the NBA's best-looking players. We know he's up there, but no, we do not need to see JJ Redick on The Bachelor.
I didn't say do we need to. I said are
We
we?
might see the mature Bachelor with Christian Laettner, though. If anybody saw his documentary, Christian Laettner somehow has defied aging because he looks like he's 30.
I haven't watched it yet. I made sure I recorded it. I have to watch it.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
on JR's DVR. There's a DVR popcorn party at JR's house for I Hate Christian Laettner. You can join JR Jackson. In terms of trash talking, though, boys, this was a good week for trash talking as Jordan's story came out. And, of course, the Reddit trash talking thread. Leave your thoughts and comments in the comments section below. As always, don't forget to subscribe.